Welcome back to online night, night, night. Welcome back to my online video tutorial series. For today's topic, I will be exploring the modify command. And the modify command is very, very important in AutoCAD. That is where we do most of our editing. And it's located here. It's the second palette on the ribbon, or modified command. The first one we'll be looking at is the move command. And it's important to know that for AutoCAD, we can either use the icon or we can choose to use the shortcut key or alias. Each of these command has an alias. For example, move, the shortcut key for move is M. For copy is C, CO or CP. For stretch, it's S. For rotate is RO. Mirror is MI. Scale is SC. Trim, TR. For fillet is F. And it's only F if you're using standard AutoCAD. For AutoCAD architecture is something else. For array is AR. Very important. So we have some additional modified command here. Here we have lengthen. And for lengthen, I think I did a video on lengthen. For lengthen, we can change the length of a line by several means. And this one is poly edit. But we will not be exploring these. These are for a different level, probably level 2 video or some other videos. Right. So let us focus on the first one, which is to move. All right. Let me erase this first. So to move, we can do one of two things. We can type M, enter, or click this. First, it's important to observe the command bar, as the command bar gives instruction. All right, it's extremely important that we watch that. So let me go again, move, click this. M, enter. And what you notice is that the command bar asks you to select an object to be moved. And for that, I click here. Say, for example, I wish to move this isometric box. I'll left click here, then drag to create a selection window, then click here to highlight that object. Once the object has been highlighted, you will notice that it turns blue. The next step is to click enter to accept the blue, accept the selection. Next, it will ask you to specify a base point. Base point is very, very important. What's a base point? A base point is basically where it is the location where you use to grip that object. All right. Say for example, I wish to move this object here. Say, for example, I wish to move this object from this point and place it at this location. I would select here as my base point and then drop it here. Let's do that. So for to specify a base point, I would select here, left click there, then move and place it there. Left click where I want that object to be moved to. All right, that is one way in which we can move an object. We can also move an object by entering a numerical value. So for example, we wish to move this object say 10 millimeters on the x-axis and 5 millimeters up. Yeah, we simply enter, click M, select object, enter. In this case, what we would do, we would select displacement, click displacement, and for this, we would we can enter a value here. For example, on the x-axis, I want 10, 1, 0, comma. On the y-axis, I want it to be 5, 5, comma, 0, enter. All right, and this would move the object in that direction. All right, that might not be so visible. So let me try to make it a bit more visible. All right, so this is here, right? And we wish to move that distance. Let's click M, M for move, enter, select here, select object. Remember, a highlighted object is not a selected object. Yeah, an object is not selected until this changes from select object to something else. All right, so the next step is to click enter, enter. Next, it will ask me to specify a base point. All right, and a base point is a point where you want to grip this object by. It's also important to note that the base point can be anywhere on the screen. It could be here, it could be here, it could be at some other location. All right. So for this, I choose here as my base point. The next step is to, let me do that again. Move M, enter. I type D for displacement, enter. Next, I enter the displacement value of let's use 20, 20, comma. So this, as you can see on that box, and on that box on the screen, it's called the dynamic input box. Yeah, 20 for the X, and for the Y, I want it to be like 10, 1, 0. Then for the third plane, I want no Z, so I'll type 0 for that, then enter. And as you can see, this has been moved from this location here, 20 on the x-axis and 10 on the y-axis. So that's the importance of using move. That's one. All right. You move now here, move. Let's undo that. Undo. And to undo, you simply click this button up here to undo. So to undo, select a button up here. You choose this button here, this icon here to undo. Can you see this icon up here to undo? That's our undo button. To redo, we click this button here, this one to redo. All right, very important. Now let's move on to move to copy. Very useful tool is also to copy. All right. Let me erase this. To copy an object, you simply making a number of the same object at different location, yeah, or to reproduce. With copy in drawing, the same angle and shape is maintained. The only thing that changes is the location. Only thing that changes is the location. Location changes. All right. So let's hit copy. Let's hit copy, or we could also type. You could also type CO for copy or CP. So to copy this rectangle, I'll click here, enter. Now, if I wish to create a title block, say for example, I want to create a title block from this, I would select here and I would paste this. So copy, so I select here as my base point and I will click there. I'll click one here and I can copy this to various locations, to there, to here. I could click one here I could also place one here at this point, at that point, could place one there, one on top of the other, one there, yeah, etc. One there, escape. Yeah, so copy is useful and you'll realize the same shape and angle is maintained, right? We could also, another useful, helpful use for copy. For example, I have my name, this name here, and I wish to make, to remove this name from here, and I wish to maintain the same positioning, the same positioning. I would type CO, enter. Specify base point, I would use here as my base point, and I could place this at the corresponding location on the subsequent row. Yeah, could place this here also, place this there, place this here, place that there, escape. All right, so that's how we copy. The next very important one is to rotate. All right, rotate, and rotate again is very common. So we can rotate an object several ways. Let me delete some of these. All right, delete. Now, what if I wish to rotate this line at a specific angle? I would simply type RO, enter, or I could click on the rotation icon. Then it will then ask me to select an object to be rotated. I then left click onto this, then enter to accept. Again, it will ask me to specify a base point. What's the base point? The base point is basically where we want this object to rotate at, or it's the pivot point. So say for example, I want my pivot point to be here. It will rotate about that point that I just select. And I could rotate at whatever angle I want, or I could type in a specific angle that I want this line to rotate at. Say for example, I want this line to rotate at say 60 degrees. I would type 60, enter. Yes, and this line would move at an angle of 60 degrees. Yeah. I could also rotate an object. Yeah, I could also rotate this. So I could click this, then type RO, enter, or rotate from here. Again, I would need to specify a base point. Let's use here as my base point. And again, as I move, see it's rotating around that pivot point. For this, I could enter an angle, let's say 35 degrees, 35, enter. And as you can see, this has been rotated at an angle of 35 degrees. All right, very useful. The next one is to mirror an object. This again is a very useful command. Well, these are all useful, frankly speaking, all useful tools. Mirror is basically producing a similar object at specific location or at an opposite point to a given object. Say for example, we wish to rotate, we need to mirror this object here. I would simply type MI for mirror, enter, or I could click on the mirror icon. All right. Next, it allows me to click the object that I want to mirror. I click here, enter. Then it will ask me to specify the first mirror point. All right. The mirror point basically is that imaginary line, that imaginary reflection line or point where you want the object to mirror at. All right. Say for example, I click this point, this as my first point. What you find is that the object will start appearing on the other side. I could also showing how this is rotated. Yeah. So as I move this, you realize that that object is being mirrored on the other side. All right. Click this there. I click second point there, then enter. It's important to know that when you're mirroring, upon selecting the second point, you must choose if you want to keep the object or not. So you must click enter. All right. So here we go. We have created a second object on the opposite side. You could also mirror a line. Let's see how we can mirror a line here. For that, we go back to rotate to add the mirror, MI. Left click on the object, then click enter. Specify the first mirror point. I could choose here. I could choose there as my second point. Enter. And we have this line being placed opposite to the other side. Right. Trim. Trim is another useful modified tool. All right. What trim does, trim removes unwanted section of lines that we really don't want. See, for example, we have something like this. Yeah, something like this, you know. So, and we wish to remove, trim basically removes the excess. So say, for example, I don't want this excess right here. I could click on the trim command, then enter, and touch the section that I don't want to remove. I want there to remove, and I want there to remove. And but you realize that that excess is gone. It's no longer there. It's undo. I could also trim again. So for trim, you could also activate trim by typing TR and enter or spacebar twice. So we type TR, enter twice, then we touch that gone, touch this gone. It's important to note that trim, we cannot trim a line. We can only trim an object that crosses another object. Say for example this, I could not trim this because this is the line by itself. And you will know by virtue of, you will notice that once there's a white circle with a line passing through the middle, you will realize that that line is not trimmable. All right, it's not able to trim. Escape. So I'm going to undo that. There are some additional features that come under trim. TR, enter. Once you click enter once, you will notice down here, that we have some choices here. We can choose to fence. We can choose to fence, crossing, project, and edge. Yeah, these are very useful. I normally use fence. Fence is a very useful one. All right. You can also erase. With erase, everything that you touch pretty much goes once that's engaged. Again, I will not be taking into these because these are a little bit more advanced, and the purpose of these videos is basically to introduce you to AutoCAD. Yeah, there will be a series of more advanced videos, you know, that you will learn those things from. But the primary purpose of these videos is to help you to grasp the basics. All right. So let's explore fence. Right? Again, we engage trim by clicking here, clicking on the icon, then enter key. All right. So we click here, then enter. We touch that, that goes. Touch this, that won't go because that is a line. Drawing some more lines here. Lines that crosses here. And for this aspect, I will be exploring trim when we use cutting edge. as I think this is very useful. So for that, I type TR, enter once. You will notice right here, remember, we must click enter once, all right, as we wish to select a cutting edge. All right. So you will notice here that it says select cutting edge. This is very important right here. This one, selecting cutting edge. What that does, that helps us to choose a line or a point where we want the cutting to take place. It's like an imaginary line per se. All right. So select cutting edge. So I want everything either to the top or to the either above or below this line to be removed. So I select here as my cutting edge. Here is my cutting edge. Once it turns blue, I click enter to accept. And now everything below that will be removed. Everything below that will be removed. And as you notice, it cleans off everything on this side. Everything is trimmed from that line. So this is like having an edge on a knife and you pretty much cut off, remove everything from that side. Let's click undo. So let's explore trim another time. TR, enter. All right, enter twice. This time I will be using fence. Fence. Fence is basically the same thing. I click here, well, similar, click there, click there, click there. What this does, this creates a pattern. Everything that line passes through is deleted. All right, everything is deleted. All right, right there, that's enter. And for a fence, it's important that you click that enter key to end that command. Very important. Right. Now, let's move on to fillet. Fillet is also a very important one. Uh, what fillet does, fillet creates some nice little curved edges. Yeah. And it also can be used to join two lines. All right. So for a fillet, let us click fillet. You'll also select the first line that you want to fillet. Okay, well, I think I should explain fillet in a little bit more details. All right, so fillet creates curved edges. Yeah. So for example, if we want to remove the sharp edge and make it a bit curved, we would use the fillet command. So for that, I type F, fillet, enter, or I could click on the fillet here. All right. I could choose fillet from there or click here. All right. Next, it allows me to select the first object to be filleted or enter a radius. If I wish to fillet this object at a specific radius, I would click on radius and then enter the radius value. By default, AutoCAD has a standard fillet radius or default fillet radius of 3 millimeters. If I want a larger radius, I would enter the radius value that I want. Say, for example, I want a fillet radius of, let's use 10 millimeters. 10, let's make it 5. 5, enter. It will then ask me to select the first object. So once I click the first line, second line, and what you see, what have you noticed? Those end changes to a curved edge having a radius of 5. I could hit space bar to continue, enter. Yeah, I could also hit multiple M, which allow me to fillet multiple of them without stopping. So I could continue touching. Yeah, yeah, and I could also use polyline to fillet the sides, wherein I just touch a figure and all the ends are filleted at once. But again, I will not be going into those because this is a beginner video. All right. Also, let me undo this. We could also fillet join 2 points, all right, by using the fillet command. So for that, I have a line here, and I want to join this line to this line here, this line to this line. I could use fillet. Let me draw 2 separate lines. One line here, one line there. All right. See, I wish to join these 2 lines at a point or at a specific radius. I would type F, enter. I would select, if I want these lines to be to have a sharp point, I must change radius from 5 or anything else to 0. This radius must be 0. So for that, I type 0, enter. Next, I touch this line, second line, and what's that? Look at that. Both lines join each other to form a point. Let me undo that. All right, again. What if I want to join this line, join these 2 lines, having a radius of, say, 5 millimeters? Same procedure. I would enter, click fillet. I would select R, enter. I would enter the radius of 5 or 6, whatever the radius might be, enter. I would then touch this line, touch second line, and look what's happened. Both lines are joined with a radius of 5 millimeters. All right. So